sounds very ironic and a little bit contradictory that I am speaking in English at the launch of Malayalam journalism program. But this angst that despite being a Malayali, of course I'm a third generation Delhiite, you know. My grandfather migrated to North and I was born and brought up in Delhi. And my wife is from a different state, so hardly I get to speak in Malayalam. But always that angst was there. That what is my own identity? You know, our motivation, you know, my parents taught me functional Malayalam. But I always felt whenever I met with my classmates, later on my colleagues, I found that they spoke, they wrote in their own languages, particularly those who came from the states. People in cities often tend to be more English than the Englishmen themselves. I felt that as a Malayali, I should know about my language. And I think that today, if you go by global studies and also studies in India, more and more people love to listen to news and entertainment programs in their own language. People want to read news in their own language. That's why my thesis, my doctoral thesis, was on regional language media. And I found that during my studies, that regional language media, which the British contemptuously referred to as the vernacular, language media was growing by leaps and bounds. In every state, more and more television channels in regional languages are coming. In every state, more and more newspapers, websites in regional languages are coming. So people are shifting from English to their own respective languages. Earlier, there was a trend that the educated, qualified people would stick to English. But even that is changing. Today you see a large number of people who are well educated, well qualified, who prefer to not only speak, but also write and also read and certainly listen in their respective languages. And I felt that having missed it out, whenever I get an opportunity, I will try my level best to ensure that our languages don't die, that we should do our level best. Because whenever I have traveled across the world, whether it is Korea, Japan, China, I found that the most eminent people, the most distinguished people with whom I interacted, preferred to speak in their language, and we always required an interpreter to convey it to us in English. That is where I felt that, while no doubt that particularly in Kerala and also the rest of the country, English has become our second language, so to say. And it has empowered us, certainly, no doubt. Today we are dominating the global IT industry because of our command over the English language. But English can give you power, but only Malayalam can give you pride. And I think that self-esteem, Malayalam, for a Punjabi it's Punjabi, for a Kashmiri it's Kashmiri, for a Bengali it's Bengali, that will give you a sense of pride. Unified life of self-respect without having pride in where you belong to the culture that you belong to, because you need to have a sense of identity at the end of the day. We have, of course, a larger identity as Indians, but we are a land of multi-ethnic, multi-linguistic, multi-religious, multi-cultural. So yes, we are bound together as we all have our respective. 1971 proved that it is language that unites much more than even religion. The people of East Bengal or East Pakistan were never comfortable with their Urdu-speaking compatriots. They were brought together artificially in the name of religion, but they realized that ultimately it is culture, it is language that will keep them together. And thus, the whole thing started. And that's why you had the Bangladesh Liberation War and finally the creation of Bangladesh. I think that's an example across the world that how important, how strong is your language, the importance of your language. Friends, our credibility in media. We don't do background. Go to any transnational news copy today, Reuters, AP, they always provide a background. We in India don't provide backgrounders. We believe that all our readers are all-knowing, they know everything. It's not like that. And he should be given a background. I think that that's very important. And that's where research, we don't invest in research at all. In Indian Institute of Mass Communication, we have Asia's first Department of Communication Research. We are doing communication research not just for IIMC, but also for different ministries and departments of the Government of India. When I took charge as the Director General after leaving my assignment at Doordarshan, I felt that the campuses of the Indian Institute of Mass Communication should become relevant to their respective states. There was no point few students from outside of Kerala would come and study in Kerala. Fine, that gives them a lot of exposure. But how is the project relevant for the state of Kerala? Or for that matter, the project is relevant for the state of Maharashtra, or Mizoram, or Odisha. I am determined with the support of all people present here to get the center, the new campus inaugurated. That's my dream. And number two was to start this Malayalam journalism program. One, to strengthen Malayalam journalism. We also found that in languages per se, increasingly students are becoming weak. Language has become a weak point. People are not writing good Malayalam, good Tamil, good English. I can understand in your own language. When there are words in your own language, then why use a foreign? I don't mean word from abroad. Foreign, I mean a word which is not part of your language. So, one request I made to Anilji is that please, when you teach Malayalam, language has to be an important component of this program. That's why I told Deepu also. Malayalam Bhasha, highly importance kodakkanam. Adonu Malayalam literature, Sahityam, and a lot of creativity has to be there in that language when you teach that language. So it should not be just reporting and editing. It has to be Malayalam language. Second, an important aspect of this course will be the history of Malayalam press. If you are not aware of the history of your language, when we were taught, we studied journalism, we were told about, the first newspaper was launched by James Augustus Hickey, how is it relevant to our country? I mean, yes, we need to know that, that is there. But we are not told who started the press in our own language. Which was the first publication? Who are the pioneers? So in our campus, one of the first things I did after joining was to rename a lot of buildings. The buildings were just known as Block A, Block 1, Block 2. I renamed each building. My main auditorium was named after Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest journalists of this country. My mini auditorium I named after Lokmanya Balgangadhar Tilak. Again, who used the media as a tool in his crusade against British rule. That was how journalism started in this country. Not as a mercenary trade magazine brought out by Hickey. Hickey only wrote about, the consignments coming at the Kolkata port. It was an information bulletin rather than a newspaper. The secretary was kind enough to host me last time. And that IIMC is not here to compete with anybody. I know there are media institutions here. I know even the press club runs a course. But IIMC course would be different. IIMC is a national institution. It is not a commercial institution. We are not here to make money. We are not here to, compete with anybody. I said that it belongs to each one of you. To the press club also. I said, please have that sense of ownership. So this really delighted, I must say, Anilji, I am really grateful to you. That today, by bringing all these stalwarts from different newspapers, I now am, when I go back to Delhi, I am secure, I feel confident that my Malayalam program is going to be a great success. I have no doubt about it. When you have got these people, the most eminent people in the area, who are going to bless us, our students are going to be mentored by these people, guided by these people. And they have come. That is the only way a national institution can grow. And I am really glad that today all of them have come together and we have the blessings of an eminent literature. That makes me all the more confident that the language, Malayalam language, it's not about teaching, as I said, technology or editing or reporting in Malayalam. It is about the language. And with Professor Shridas here, I am assured that, this course is going to be implemented the way we envisioned it, the way we thought about it. It's not going to be a tokenist one. It's going to be something that's going to sustain the growth of Malayalam journalism. This course, I can say it with pride, that today we are laying the foundation. I am just formally inaugurating it, but these are the people who are going to be the people who are present here. People like Arias Karta, who have contributed to the creation of the course curriculum, who were involved with it right from day one. And people have all come together. And that gives me, I do not wish to prolong further, but I can only say that in development we always, in India, whenever we talked about development, we have Europe, life expectancy, infant mortality, primary health care. Of course, there are some shortcomings also. But like that, I think that the day is not far when the Malayalam journalism course would for journalism courses across India. I'm sure that this is the future of Malayalam journalism course at Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Kottayam. And I can assure you of all support from the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, the Delhi headquarters, and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, that we will be with you. There will not be any, so far as the academic part is concerned, you will have total autonomy. You will function independently. We will give you all the freedom to make this course the best possible course. It becomes a role model and it grows with each year. You who belong to this, and I'm sure that that day we will have the entire Malayalam media present here, and my best wishes to all of you, and I would be spending some more time with you in the campus later in the day, and thank you all of you for being here, blessing this course, extending your good wishes, and once again I must thank the distinguished dignitaries on the dais and off the dais who have come here to bless us all. Valare valare nanni. Thank you.